Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Baba Girivaradhari Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we're reading today from Srimad-bhagavatam, 8th Canto, chapter 16, verses 61 and 62. Okay, so we'll chant the verse 61 in Sanskrit. Ta eva niyama sakshat ta eva cha yamotamaha tapodanang vritang yagyo yena tushas yadhoksajaha. Taeva niyama sakshat. Taeva chayamotamaha. Tapodhanang vritang yagyo. Yena tushyat yadhoksajaha. Taeva niyama sakshat. Taeva chayamotamaha. Tapodhanang vritang yagyo. Yena tushyat yadhoksajaha. Taeva niyama sakshat. Taeva chayamotamaha. Tapodhanang vritang yagyo. Yena tushyat yadhoksajaha. Taeva niyama sakshat. Taeva chayamotamaha. Tapodhanang vritang yagyo. Taeva niyama sakshat. Taeva chayamotamaha. Tapodhanang vritang yagyo. Yena tushyat yadhoksajaha. Taeva niyama sakshat. Taeva chayamotamaha. Tapodhanang vritang yagyo. Yena tushyat yadhoksajaha. Word for word synonyms. Te, that is. Eva, indeed. Niyamaha, all regulative principles. Sakshat, directly. Te, that is. Eva, indeed. Cha, also. Yama Uttamaha, the best process of controlling the senses. Tapaha, austerities. Dhanam, charity. Vratam, observing vows. Yagya, sacrifice. Yena, by which process Tushyati is very pleased. Adhoksajaha, the Supreme Lord who is not perceived by material senses. Translation. This is the best process for pleasing the transcendental Supreme Personality of Godhead known as adhoksaja. It is the best of all regulative principles, the best austerity, the best process of giving charity, and the best process of sacrifice. Uh, okay, and then there's only one more verse in the chapter without a purport, so I'm going to read the verse, and then I'll read the first purport for the one we just chanted, and then we'll speak something. So verse 62, therefore, my dear gentle lady, read it through. Therefore, my dear gentle lady, follow this ritualistic vow, strictly observing the regulative principles. By this process, the Supreme Person will very soon be pleased with you and will satisfy all your desires. Thus in the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 8th canto, 16th chapter of the Srimad-bhagavatam, entitled Executing the Payo-vrata Process of Worship. So, okay, I'll go back to the purport. Srila Prabhupada's purport. The Supreme Lord says in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18, verse 66, Sarvadharmang parityaja mamekang sharanang praja aham twang sarva papebhyo mokshaya shami masuchaha. Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reaction. Do not fear. Unless one pleases, this is an end quote. Unless one, okay, you want to translate that part? Unless one pleases the Supreme Personality of Godhead according to His demand, no good will come from any of His actions. Translation? You translated it already. Dharma svanashchita pumsang vishvaksena kata sunayaha notpadaye yadi rating shrama eva hi kevalam. Quote, the occupational activities a man performs according to his own position are only so much useless labor if they do not provoke attraction for the message of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. From the Srimad-bhagavatam, 1st Canto, 2nd chapter, 8th verse. If one is not interested in satisfying Lord Vishnu, Vasudeva, all his so-called auspicious activities are fruitless. Mogasha mogakarmano mogajnana vichetasaha Because he is bewildered, he is baffled in his hopes, baffled in his activities, and baffled in his knowledge. In this regard, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur remarks, Napumsaktam Anapumsaktenye Adinaikatvam. One cannot equate the potent and the impotent. Among modern Mayavadis, it has become fashionable to say that whatever one does or whatever path one follows is all right. But these are all foolish statements. Okay? Here it is forcefully affirmed that this is the only method for success in life. Ishvaratarpanam vina sarva eva vipalam. Unless Lord Vishnu is satisfied, all of one's pious activities, ritualistic ceremonies, and yajnas are simply for show and have no value. Unfortunately, foolish people do not know the secret of success. Ate vidu swartipatim hi Vishnum. They do not know that real interest, real self-interest ends in pleasing Lord Vishnu. Om Jnana Timiranda Shakina Jana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So, Varnashram Dharma is actually meant for the worship of Lord Vishnu or Krishna. It's not that everyone was devotee of Krishna. It is not that everyone was a devotee of Krishna. But Varnashram Dharma was so arranged that everyone gradually progressed it actually gradually progressed upward. Because every person, according to their nature, they functioned in society in a particular capacity. Those who were inclined were so inclined they became brahmanas. Those who were more in the mode of passion became kshatriyas. Those who were more in the modes of passion and ignorance became vaishyas. And those who were in the lower position in society became shudras. But each person, according to their position, had certain um, principles by which they had to live. And those principles that they followed all were connected to the worship of Vishnu or Krishna. So although most people in Vedic culture were actually karmis in the actual true sense of karmi, means that their real goal in life is to make better arrangements to enjoy the material world. So towards that end, they would perform. Sometimes they would worship demigods. They perform other kinds of sacrifices. But in the course of their activities, they would Vishnu was always there. They worship the demigods, but Vishnu is mentioned in the mantras for the demigods. The Brahmanas may have performed sacrifices for material reasons. But in the one who's performing fire sacrifice, he's actually making offerings into to the deity in the fire, Vishnu. So little, by connecting Vishnu or religious activities to their material activities, then everyone would gradually advance on the path of Krishna consciousness. Vedic culture, yes. Varnashram. Even though their desire was material, they gradually increased rather than degrading themselves. And because the ultimate goal of these Vedic activities was pleasing Vishnu, and then they were getting some good results. So unlike Vedic culture, we have modern time. socially speaking, there's still people still have inclinations of teachers and ministers and like that Brahmana activity. The the some people were inclined as in administrative activities or leadership. Some people are inclined towards business dealings, and most people are inclined to just they do some kind of work for working for others. But the difference is that in today's society, the goal is not worshiping God. Modern society, the goal is simply sense gratification. So ultimately, according to this purport, all these activities will be useless. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada explains that if the goal of our activities is not pleasing Vishnu, then ultimately these activities are useless. They have no benefit. So we see people who have administrative tendency, who go into politics. But they don't have you say they have no knowledge in terms of Vedic culture or Brahminical culture. So as a result, so many problems come out of this their attempt to make things good in the world. So many problems come. Srila Prabhupada refers to modern society as a stopgap society. Stopgap. It means every time there's a little problem, you got to go and fix the problem. But they're not actually understanding the cause of the problems in the world. So they are not fixing the cause. I'll explain more. Can you translate that part? Stop. Yes. It means like what happened. Just like we have problems. There's people who complain about environmental pollution, for example. That's one problem. Pollution. Yeah. Right? Shishi Gauranitai, Shishi Radha Vijabihari, Jagannath, Balaram, Lady Subhadra, and Shigane, Pawad Maharaj, Ki Jai. So, yes, global warming, these things. Yes. Yes, many problems come, and some things could be fixed by people, but um, they have to understand the goal of life is pleasing God, not. Um, so just like Srila Prabhupada wrote one article or essay many years ago called the Peace Formula. So of course everyone says they want to have peace, but well, not everyone. But there's like they say, it's like desiring to have the kingdom of God, but without God. Hmm. But Srila Prabhupada explains that peace is very easy if you understand the cause of not having peace. Okay, peace. It is not difficult. The cause of not having peace in the world is because we don't know or we don't accept. The cause of the problem is we do not accept that God is the controller and owner of everything. We do not accept that nothing here belongs to us. And because nothing belongs to us and belongs to Krishna, everything should be used in Krishna's service. Yes. Everything should be used in Krishna's service. So we see how many wars are being fought everywhere. Because one person is saying that this land or this land is my land. And someone else is saying, no, it is mine. But and then the result is fighting to prove, by force, who this land belongs to. But if people understood that all that land and everything else here belongs to God, and that there's only one God, even though He has many names, then they could be working together and using everything in the service of God. Unfortunately, that's not the case. That's not the way things work in the material world. And then Srila Prabhupada also mentions here in the purport the modern Mayavadi idea. The modern Mayavadi idea is that modern, we'll say the effect of impersonalism in modern times. The effect is that they have this saying, it's all one. Everything's one. So yeah. So they say that whatever you do, it all leads you to the same. The goal is the same. Right? But that is not even materially practical. Doesn't make sense. It does not make sense that everything we do will lead to the same end. I'll give an example. Just like if you go to Miami Airport and you get on a plane that is scheduled to go to Los Angeles, California, then you should not expect that you're going to end up in Chicago. You cannot go. It's not that everyone on the Los Angeles plane is going to. You want a ticket to this place, you're not going to end up at that place. So someone, or just like if someone says, I will worship Lord Shiva as God, and I'll get the same result as if I worship Krishna as God. Hmm? The example is, yes, if someone thinks that I worship Lord Shiva, say Lord Shiva is God. If someone says I believe Lord Shiva is God, so I will worship him. I will not worship Krishna. But if they think that by worshiping Lord Shiva, they get the same result as if worshiping Krishna, then they are wrong. It's not all one. So the point in this purport is that for any activity to be, fruitful, to give you the results you want. For any activity to give the results that you want, it has to be done for Krishna. Yeah. Yeah, questions.
So, like, natural worship God, but at the same time, people feel like the necessity to worship you like demigod in order that each of them worship like sages. When they have God to worship, even if somebody comes and say, I am the son of God, but worship God, people have this tendency to worship like the son, the demigod, but they don't go directly to God. Why? When it's so strong, the feeling like I need to pray to God, I need to worship God. But at the same time, many thousands of millions of temples where they worship them for specific
Material reasons.
even school with names of some sages, and we started that school where they teach you worship that sage, pray for that sage. I've been in situations like that, you know. I've been in school where the name of the school was some sage, and we learning about the life of that sage, pray for that sage.
Well, if the sages that you were praying to, and if they are, if they are, if by following them they lead you to God, then that's okay. Yeah. If one is worshiping sages, uh, but by that worship, if that leads them to understanding the worship of God, then that's okay. I mean, practically, you cannot really approach God directly anyway. You have to go through. You do have to go through the representative of God anyway. But if that so if the representative, just like we say, worship the spiritual master. And why do we worship spiritual master? Because the spiritual master leads us to Krishna. So if in some religion someone's worshiping sages and so on, and those sages are actually leading those who are following them, if they're leading them to God, then that's the normal system. But if someone is, say, worshiping Lord Shiva, thinking that he is God, then they will not ultimately not get their desired results. Yes, some consider Lord Brahma like that. Some consider Indra like that. And if you if you actually study the scriptures that are specifically about Lord Shiva, or specifically about Lord Brahma, or specifically about Lord Indra, like that. If you were to read those, you would definitely get the feeling that, hey, this is actually God. But I don't know specifically the scriptures, but there's uh, there are. I have to see. I don't know exactly the names of the specific scriptures, but there are scriptures that tell about the about Lord Shiva and how to worship Lord Shiva, like that. There's scriptures where different demigods are described and are worshipped. Uh, I have to look at exactly what the names of the scriptures are. I don't know, but Srila Prabhupada gives that example. If you go to these different scriptures, they will about the demigods. Is very easily one could become confused and thinking that this demigod is actually God. That's why we need to hear from a devotee of Krishna, pure devotee of Krishna, who will give us Bhagavad Gita and Srimad-bhagavatam as it is. Uh, just wanted to see if there's any comments here. No questions here. Okay, so then we'll end today here. This is the end of this chapter. So tomorrow we start chapter 17. The Supreme Lord agrees to become Aditi's son. Uh, the title is The Supreme Lord Agrees to become Aditi's son. No, agrees to become. We're talking about Vamanadev, Lord Vamanadev. He will become the son of Aditi.
One time one friend, I used to one from saying, if you want to please Shiva or any demigod, we should worship Krishna. They